Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 12:58 a.m. Listen to the cicada outside. Isn't that so pretty? All right. Let's go. Turn the air on. It is really warm outside. 79 and it's very, very humid. And I was just hanging out in bed with Alex, which is where I've spent the majority of the day today. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about as far as like what I did today. I guess I could talk about my wedding, or our wedding, since I said I was going to talk about that the other day and I didn't talk about it. We're going to do a Q&A tomorrow on my Peter Monn drama channel. So, got a bunch of questions on I got tons of questions on my Instagram. I asked Alex if I was like, do you want to do a Q&A like we usually do, like on our anniversary? And he was like, yeah. He was like, but with one rule, like if we're gonna do it, I get to pick the questions, because I usually go through and just pick the questions. So I'm like, okay, you get to pick the questions. So we're gonna do it, and he's gonna pick the questions. So anyway, today was our first day of our like little staycation that we had. It was nice. I got up, well, I stayed up late last night, later than I thought I would. I got home and I was gonna go right to bed, and I was uploading videos, or I was uploading my vlog, and then, or rendering it so that I could upload it. So I was waiting, and what did I end up watching? I can't remember what I ended up watching, but I started watching all these booktube videos at one point, and then I was like, I realized it was like almost 4 o'clock, and I was like, you need to go to bed. You have a hair appointment in the morning. So I went to bed, slept really well last night, got up, went to my hair appointment. On the way home, I got my hair cut finally, and my eyebrows trimmed. What do we think? I've been wearing a hat for the last couple hours, so it probably doesn't look very good. But I did a review at Dunkin' Donuts. Now I have to turn the air off because it's getting chilly in here. It's like too warm without it on, but then that's why I have the windows open. But I love having the windows open. Oh man, I'm tired. But it's too cool with it on, so we'll have to go back and forth for a little bit. Anyway, I did a review at Dunkin' Donuts of the pumpkin frozen coffee. It was good, and I got a pumpkin donut and reviewed that as well. And then I came home and got Alex, and we went to Cafe Patachu for brunch. We're gonna try some different places this week, but he was really craving Cafe Patachu today. He wanted the Cuban breakfast. We went there, we sat outside. It was very cloudy today. It was kind of like, it like kind of sprinkled rain off and on. Which, you know, we really just wanted to go to the pool this weekend, and every day it's supposed to be cloudy over the next couple days. So I have a feeling we're not gonna really be able to go to the pool much. And we went to Topgolf for dinner tonight and sat in the bar. There was like nobody there. There was nobody in the bar. There was like outside where they were playing golf. That was packed, but like they're all like sectioned off. I don't know if you've ever been to Topgolf before. I'd never been there before, but it was all like sectioned off. It's kind of a cool concept. We just sat in the bar and ate because there's really nothing else open that was serving food, and I slept late tonight, so I gotta take home Dr. Pepper with me. Anyway, oh my lord. So we went to brunch, and then we came back, and I talked to a friend of mine. I went to the post office. He didn't want to go to the post office with me, and picked up my 2 packages. One was my candle, my new candle that's coming out with the Poorhouse Company, the candle company. We're coming out with a Be Too Much candle. It smells very much like a spa, like a floral kind of spa scent, because that's what I told her I wanted to kind of do. And I forgot tonight, I also have a lemon candle over there. It's called something like When Life Hands You Lemons or something, and it smells like lemons. it's coming out. She asked me when I want to release it, and I'm like, well, it's up to you. I don't really care. So she sent me that, and I really like it. And then I got some other things. My back seat is like filled up with stuff that I need to take inside the house. So, and I'll show that stuff in a vlog. So we came home. After I went to the post office, I came home. I was so tired, you guys. At that point, it was like 4:30, I think. I could hardly even stay awake. And so I asked Alex, I said, what are you gonna do? And he was like, oh, he was laying in bed on his computer, and he was like, well, I'm doing some work stuff. He had just a little bit of work stuff that he had to do, and he's like, I'm just gonna like sit here and do it for like a half an hour. And I said, okay, well then I'm gonna lay down for a little bit, because I was so tired. And I think my lack of sleep is just kind of catching up with me. You know, I said last night that I ended up being up for like 18 hours. I was up for almost like 24 hours straight because I got up so early the day before. But anyway, look at my hair standing up back here. Darlene Jolene Joe kicking at 50. So I laid down. I was so comfortable. The dogs were like just kind of hanging out in bed with us, and it was like we had the fan on. It just was so comfy, cozy. And it was so nice to have Alex at home today. And so I slept from like 4:30 to like 6:30, and then I got up, and he was like half asleep. And I was like, are you gonna fall asleep? And he's like, I mean, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. I mean, we literally, you guys, were in bed until like 9 o'clock tonight. From like 4:30 until like 9 o'clock. And it was so nice. I was gonna get up and do videos, but at that point I was like, it's kind of late to start videos, because I was gonna do this Q&A, but Alex and I are gonna do it tomorrow, I think. Plus I thought it would give people more time to ask questions. So, what else was I gonna say? So yeah, I literally like slept all day. I kept on having like the weirdest, most bizarre dreams. I would like wake up and tell Alex about these dreams I was having, and he would just laugh. And then at one point I woke up and he was playing his video game. And I was like, what do you want to do? I was like, are you... Oh, this was like, I think this was at 6:30. I said, do you want to go get something to eat? He goes, I mean, are you hungry? And I was like, are you wanting to go get dinner? And he was like, well, I mean, I don't care. I don't know that I'm not hungry right now. And I said, okay. So I said, well, I'm going to sleep a little bit longer. So I set my alarm for 8. And I woke up at 8, and he was like still playing his game on his phone. He plays that township game. He loves it. And he said he'd kind of like watch some TikToks. And then played his game and stuff. And I said, are you bored? He goes, no, I'm completely relaxed. I'm enjoying my day. Because he doesn't really get to just, like ever do that, because he's always got stuff he's got to do. And so then I said, okay, are you hungry yet? And he goes, well, I'm getting there. I go, okay, well then I'm going to set my alarm for like 9:15 or something like that. So 9 or 9:15, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. So I set my alarm. I mean, I like you guys, each time I set my alarm, I felt right back asleep like that. It was like the perfect sleep day today. And so I woke up, and then it was like, Alex was like, I'm hungry. And I go, okay, where do you want to go? And he was like, I don't care. And I said, well, do you want to go to like the cheesecake or something? He goes, well, are you just wanting to go around here? And I said, well, no. I said, I don't care. I almost like, there's this construction detour sign. And I said, but I don't want to like have to take a shower and get dressed up to go downtown. And it didn't occur to either one of us that like every restaurant in Indianapolis closes at 9 o'clock. I said, really, I just want to throw on like a pair of jean shorts, a t-shirt, and a hat. Like, I don't want to like have to go, like if you had wanted to go out to dinner earlier, like, and I knew that, like, then I would have like gotten up earlier, taken a shower and looked nice and stuff and whatever. He was like, oh no, we don't have to do that. So he was like throwing out all these places to me, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, we could go to Coronado Tacos in Broaderpool. He's like, I don't really want to do that. He's like, I don't really like that place. Which I thought he really liked that place. So then we kind of narrowed it down to going somewhere in Fishers, and he mentioned this one place, and I was like, well, isn't it kind of dressy? It's like Bar 101 or something like that. And I'm like looking at the reviews, and they're like, this place is really swanky, said one of the reviews. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to go somewhere where it's like super dressy. He was like, okay, what about Sun King, which is like a brewery? And it's bright and it's loud. And I was like, oh, can we do something a little bit more, I don't know, like, not so, you know. Plus, Tanya and I went there one time, and it's really hard for me to eat there as a vegetarian. And so Alex was like, well, we could go to Topgolf and eat. And he was like, you can sit on the rooftop, and then you can look over the whole city. And I was like, oh, let's do that. That sounds like fun. So Topgolf is like this place, I think it's like 3 stories. And it's like, they have these outside areas. It's kind of like, the setup is kind of like a bowling alley, but it's golfing instead. And so like, you hit like balls outside into this like huge field. Apparently they have like 50 of these places like all over the country. But they have a huge bar as well, and then they have all kinds of bar food. So we ate in this booth, we sat in a booth in a bar, like we were like the only ones in there. Because when we pulled up, I was like, oh man, it's packed. And like they must have all been golfing, because there was like, we were like the only ones in the bar. And it was really hot outside, so I was kind of, so Alex was like, asked this woman, he was like, can we sit on the rooftop? And she's like, no, they have it closed, because it keeps on raining off and on, or it was raining earlier. And it just started sprinkling a little bit ago, so I don't know if it's going to start again. So we just sat in the bar. He has like walked in the bar and grabbed a table. I was like standing out there. I didn't even know that he had walked in there. So I looked at the menu with this waiter that was kind of giving me some attitude about being vegetarian. He was like, now let me ask you a survey. This was one of the questions he asked me. Well, first, he was like telling me this joke. He's like, do you know what the best plant fertilizer is? And I go, no. And he told me like what it was. And he said something about it comes from like meat byproduct, because it's, I don't know what he was trying to tell me. But I was like, oh. And he goes, did you know that that's in a lot of plants that you eat? I said, no, I was completely unaware of that. And he goes, so you're not a real vegetarian? And I go, I just looked at him, and he goes, are you a vegetarian or are you not a vegetarian? And I was like, I'm a vegetarian. He goes, well, just so you know, there's meat in everything that you eat. I just was like, okay, what are you doing? Like, I just really wasn't in the mood to fight with somebody, you know, especially not a waiter that I have very little options of food there. And one of the reasons why I was excited about going was because Sarah had told me that they have like one of the best Impossible burgers that she's ever had, because of how they prepare it. So I was really excited about that, but there was no, what do you call it? There was no Impossible burger on the menu. Now there was a black bean burger that you could replace, but I'm not a black bean burger fan. I don't love them. And so this guy was just kind of like giving me a hard time. Oh, that was how it started. I asked him for the black bean. I was like, is the black bean burger any good? He goes, well, I've never had it. And I go, well, have you seen it? Like, does it look like a cheeseburger or like the Impossible? Oh, I asked about the Impossible burger. He goes, we don't have it. And I go, okay, well, did you used to have it? He goes, we can't compete with Burger King because they got the Impossible Whopper. And he said, you know, like we only have 50. And I don't know. I feel like everything he was saying to me was a complete lie. And so then he was like, because we only have 50 locations around the United States, and there's Burger Kings everywhere. He was giving me all these excuses. I was like, okay, well, are there things in the menu that are vegetarian? I'm like looking at them, right? And it's like nachos, but the nachos have meat in them. And it was like that. I just was kind of like, so anyway, and I'm trying to be very nice about the whole thing, right? Like, I haven't had anybody, like, honestly, like in a food establishment really like come for me for being a vegetarian like this guy did tonight. And he was older, and I think that was kind of part of it. And then he goes, let me ask you a question I ask all vegetarians that come in here. It's on a survey. And I go, okay. And he goes, have you ever owned a Venus flytrap? And I go, no. He goes, you've never owned a Venus flytrap plant? I said, no. He goes, in all your years that you've been alive, you've never owned a Venus flytrap plant. I go, I've never owned a Venus flytrap plant. I was literally at this point, because I'm waiting for my drink that he still hasn't brought. I'm at this point, like, so ready to just, like, go off and just walk out of this place. And he goes, well, I'm telling you, in my survey that I take, 11 out of 15 vegetarians have all owned a Venus flytrap plant because they love plants, and Venus flytrap plants eat meat. I go, okay. He goes, they eat live things. I go, okay. And he goes, okay, I'll bring you your Dr. Pepper. I'm like, this is so bizarre. Like, he walked away, and, like, I said something to Alex, and Alex goes, I don't know why you're paying him any mind. I go, I, like, was not trying to. Like, he wouldn't let up the fact that I was a vegetarian, you know? And, so anyway, so we ended up, I got nachos with no meat on them. They were actually really good. But they weren't like nachos where you like the chips and you pile everything on. They were like on a plate, and they were kind of like stuffed nachos a little bit. Now it's getting really warm in here. And they had like in the corner, it was like very fancy. It was like in the corner they had like salsa, and then in the other corner they had like guacamole, and then they had like this, like it looked like, you know where like chefs like they like paint like something on a dessert plate. Do you know what I'm talking about? It looked like that, but it was sour cream. And then there were jalapenos, like one on each of the like the nachos. And the nachos were like in this kind of like fan circle deal. Anyway, they were good. And then I got macaroni bites for Alex and I to try, and they came with like this cheese deal that you dipped it in, this cheese sauce kind of. It was, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like not really a cheese sauce. I don't really know what it was. It almost kind of tasted like cheese mixed with teriyaki sauce. And then ranch dressing. But it was like really thick ranch dressing. Okay, if you ever go to Topgolf, the macaroni bites are the bomb. So we went through those like that quick, and I got another order. And then Alex got 2 sides of fries, because the food was like not big, it was small. And Alex got a glass of Malbec. It was fun. We had a good time. We just sat there and talked and stuff, and we went home. And I was like, I'm gonna get in my car, and I'm gonna go like vlog right away. And then I was sitting on the couch because Alex went upstairs and he was talking to Sarah on the phone. Oh, Tanya called me right when I got in there too. She called me. Wait, did I call her? Because she called me right before we were leaving for dinner, and I talked to her for like a minute or two when we were like driving over there, on our way to drive over there. And then I called her, and she just got home from going to the kennel, and she was getting ready to watch something. Oh, I know what I was doing. Okay, so I was sitting on the couch, and I was like looking through Twitter, and Crystal Baldiva, who runs Drag Showdown, had tweeted out that they were doing like this live drag show on like Twitch, and it was run by somebody else, Bentley Bijou, and some drag queen I've never heard of, but it was like the whole cast of this season of Drag Showdown. They were all doing like a live show, kind of like where they sent in these tapes, and like then they, you know, like the recordings of them doing like you know, doing drag. And so like it was like watching a live drag show. So I was like, oh, this is fun. So I went over and I watched it for a little bit. I watched like 3 of them or 4 of them perform. That was fun. And then like I got off there, and then I was like looking up things to watch. Can't remember what I watched first. A trailer for. I was watching a trailer for something, and then because I was like, I need to find a new show to watch. And people keep on telling me to watch Love, Victor, because I love the Becky Albertalli books about Simon, you know, Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda that they made into a movie, Love, Simon. I love all of her books. Her books are fantastic. Well, Leah on the Offbeat was not my favorite, but it was still a good book. And her book with Adam Silvera, What If It's Us, like, I really liked that book. I think that's what it's called, What If It's Us. But anyway, so I like watched the trailer for Love Victor. I don't know if I've ever watched it before or not, but I swear when I was watching it, it's like a series, but it's still like in the Simon verse is what they call it. And I was like, this looks exactly like Love, Simon to me, like just with different people. Like it's the same storyline. I'm very confused. So, but that wasn't the first thing that I was looking at. Oh, no, I know what it was. Okay, so I want to watch that movie Unhinged with Russell Crowe, but apparently you can only see it in the movie theaters, which our movie theater is finally opened, and it says that Unhinged is playing there. So, I don't know if I want to go to the movie theaters yet or not. So anyway, so I was like, well, where can I, like, download it? There's got to be some place to download it, like, you know, like iTunes or something like that. And so, I was sitting there and I was like trying to find a place to download it, and I was looking at like all this kind of stuff, and I was like, there was like Voodoo, is that what it is? VUDU, something like that, where you can download it, and there was like another place that you could download it. No, I think that was the only place that you could download it. It was like $14.99, and I was like, okay, well then we'll watch it this weekend sometime, right? And because I was like, you know, well, Sarah has a date tomorrow night, so I was like, maybe Sunday night she could come over and we could watch it, because we've all wanted to see it, right? But then I was like so confused how to download this, and so then some other movie came up that was suggested, and it was on Hulu. And so when I went over to Hulu, that's when the Love, Simon thing came up. And at the bottom of Love Victor, at the bottom of Love Victor was this trailer. I just watched a couple trailers of movies. Was this trailer for this movie called Palm Springs, which is on Hulu, that looks really good. Alex and I think we might watch that this weekend. It's about this couple that like get stuck at this resort in Palm Springs, like, and they can't get out of it. They're like in this time warp. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day. So that looks good. But then I went on iTunes and I started looking at like the new movies that had come out that you can buy. And there was like The Vanishing. That looked really good. And then I also would like to see, it's like The King of Staten Island or The Prince of Staten Island or whatever with that Pete Donaldson or whatever he is. Alex cannot stand him, but I think he's hilarious. I love him. And the one skit that he does on Saturday Night Live where he's just like, okay. His name's something like, his name's like, I can't remember, like Chad or something like that. He's like, okay. Have you guys seen that? He's so funny. It's hilarious. But anyway, so I was showing Alex the preview, trying to, but he was watching that huge whale that they have all the footage of, you know. Did you guys see that? I think it's in, I don't know, Antarctica or somewhere. But anyway, that whale is humongous. And he's like, would you get in the water and swim with that? I said, hell no. And he goes, well, it doesn't have any teeth. I said, no way. There's no way. I wouldn't be on a boat near that. Now, they're showing this boat next to it. This boat looked like an ant next to it. This whale watching that. I was like, that is crazy. I would not be anywhere near that thing. I mean, it's beautiful to look at from the sky. It was like somebody had taken, like, you know, like in a helicopter or something, had taken, like, video footage of it. Or had video footage, recorded it. It was gorgeous to see it, like, going through the water, but no, would I get in it and swim next to it? No, that's crazy. And he knows I'm scared to death of sharks. He's like, it doesn't have any teeth. I'm like, okay, whatever. No, I wouldn't do it. We can hear the bullfrogs in our neighborhood. I love that sound. If you sit outside, that's partly why I like sitting outside sometimes in the dark. I'll sit out there and put out I have to watch my, what do you call it? Shoot, why can't I think of what that show is called? Big Brother. But I already know that Janelle gets kicked off because Justin Anderson, who I watch his Instagram stories tonight, he just put on his Instagram story that his favorite got kicked off of Big Brother tonight. I'm sure his favorite, because I like Justin Anderson, and I'm sure because Janelle's a blonde and all that kind of stuff, and you know, he does blonde color and owns that DB Hughes and all that stuff. He just seems like he would love Janelle, and I'm sure that everybody loves Janelle if you're, I mean, not everybody, but So I'm sure that's who got kicked off. And I'm sure somebody not good won head of household because he wasn't excited about that either. So that means Kaser didn't win head of household. I'm over that show. I'm really over Big Brother. Maybe that's what I watched last night. I'm over it because it's like, did I watch that before? I think maybe I watched it before. And I'm just over it. It's like, and I say this last night, like every time I watch it, it's always, this is what happens. It's like, I don't even know if some of those stores were in there. Indianapolis Gold and Coin or something. This is exactly what happens. It's like, I start watching it, and then my favorites get picked off right away and get kicked off, and then it's like, it's all these people that I don't like, and they're boring to watch, and they make it to the final. You know, it's just, it's... Although I will say, it's part of Janelle and Kaser's fault. Because if they had come in and they were smart, they would have built an alliance with Memphis, Cody, and Enzo. And Davon. And they would have had 6 people that were fan favorites, and they could have just picked everybody else off. And then when it got down to the final 6, said, whoever makes the final 2 deal, whoever does what, it's that, but we're gonna at least make it till the final 6. Like, that would have been what they should have done. So, I don't know. It's boring now. I could care less. I kind of liked that Nicole Franzel went on her season, I thought. But now seeing her this season, and I remember what she was like on that season, I'm like, no, I don't think I was a big Nicole Franzel fan. Now, there's a couple brunch places in here. There's Rise, and then Yoke. My dad goes to Yoke sometimes. I haven't been there. What's the other place he goes to? It's called Egg something. Egg Beaters or something. I always go to the same 2 places. My husband, he goes to all different kinds of places with his good GDs and girlfriends to brunch. I call up my good GDs, they don't want to go to brunch. We have this wedding that we have to go to in the near future. Like, we have to go to it. And, because it's of, like, a very, very dear friend of ours that we've been friends with, like, the entire time that we've been together, like, 12 years. And, like, I'm so happy for her. And she actually put her wedding off a year. And so this is, like, if she put it off another year, this would be, like, the 2nd year that she put it off. It's outside on a farm. And they have all these social distance things in place. So I feel okay about that. Like, they've got all these, like, ways to, like, you know, allow people to social distance while still having the wedding and the reception and the whole thing. The whole thing is outside at this, like, farm. Like, big farm. So, but I'm, like, not real excited about that. I mean, like, I'm excited to see her get married, obviously. But, like, I'm not real excited about all that. I mean, if I was really that uncomfortable with it, I would just say no. And I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable going. But I feel like she's put enough measures into place to safe distance, or to safe, like, there's enough safety plans in place that I feel comfortable enough going. Tanya's been to 2 weddings. And our neighbors went to a wedding. It stopped! I didn't even know I was at the end. It just completely turned off, so I must have been talking for a while. Anyway, I was just talking about our friend. It's whatever. You know, I think I work it up in my head, some of this stuff, honestly. And then I think to myself, I go to the grocery store and it's like, people are walking by me a foot away. You know, like, I'll be in the store in the aisles and it's like, people are walking up and down by me, you know. It's like, I don't know. So, how is that really, I guess, any different than being at a wedding? There can only be so many people there, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, she's taking all the precautions that she can to still have it. I don't know. There's been a lot of people that have had to cancel weddings this year, you know. I think she probably would have had she not done it last year. So, I don't know. And then a lot of people are traveling and stuff. I see a lot of people traveling, you know. Tanya's gone to a lake house twice in 2 different places. But I see people going to all over now, you know. It's like, I don't know. Like, do you think that we're going to get to the point where people are feeling comfortable traveling and, like, what to do with that? Like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, Alex and I were talking... not about traveling right now, but like down the road, as far as like, how would we feel about going to like a resort in like, you know, Mexico or something like that, where we literally were like in our hotel room or on the beach, you know what I mean? Or like eating in the restaurant. Like, how would we, not tomorrow or anytime in the near future, but like down the road. Like, when would we start feeling comfortable doing that, you know? Or, you know, Alex was asking me, like, we have a friend of ours that owns a condo. He owns a couple condos at the Fontainebleau. And Alex is like, we could go and just grocery shop and then go to the beach, because those beaches are not packed. And then go to the beach, and then... And he was like, when would you feel comfortable doing that? Like, you know, like December? And I was like, I don't know. I guess that has a lot to do with what the world looks like, you know? He was like, yeah, I guess you're probably right. But I see all kinds of people on planes and stuff like that now. All kinds of people on social media. I don't know. Melissa and Jason are really thinking about going to Las Vegas. And Melissa's like, so here's the deal. She called. It's like $60 a day to get a chair, like at a pool, like a bed, and at some of the places. And so she's like, if we just like went out to dinner and went to the pool and stayed in our hotel room, she's like, I think I would feel okay with that. Like, she's like, everything else is closed down anyway. I don't feel comfortable going to Las Vegas right now. I told her, she was like, would you guys I said, I'm not comfortable going to Las Vegas right now. I said I would love to go, don't get me wrong, but I said it's not safe right now. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Would I feel comfortable with my husband and I renting a house in someplace like Gulf Shores, Alabama, or what's the place in Florida that a lot of people go to that's like 10, 11 hours from here? Shoot. It's like a straight shoot down. Like, the beaches are like crystal clear white. It's supposed to be so pretty along there. Like, I would do that, and I would go to a grocery store and get food. I would go to a cabin in Gatlinburg probably, and just stay in the cabin, not go anywhere else. Alex had mentioned us maybe going to Chicago for like the weekend, like this weekend, for, you know, anniversaries. So we could go to Chicago and stay overnight in a hotel room. I didn't really, like, I'm not opposed to that, but I don't really have any desire. Part of it is this, for me, is that you're still spending quite a bit of money to go do something that you can't fully enjoy. I would just prefer to wait, you know what I mean? So, not to mention, like, I would like my back to be, before I mean, my back is, it's not, like, I'm walking and it feels really good. Everybody was like, asking me how I did this, like, TikTok dance that I did. They're like, how'd you do that with your back? I didn't even honestly really think about it. And it was just like, my back has been feeling a lot better. The nerve right down here and my shin still hurt off and on throughout the day. But the pain has pretty much gone away. And, so I took the non-narcotic pain medication for like the first week. Well, Alex gave it to me, and then I stopped taking it, and all I take now is Aleve, and I only take it like when my shin is starting to hurt. And that might be like every third day. So, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why it's like just healing itself, kind of. But I am afraid of it coming back, which is why I'm going to do the physical therapy. Because I want to at least have some plan in place in case it comes back or something like that. Or if I'm on, you know, God forbid, 3 years down the road, we're at Ultra Music Festival and I throw my back out and I cannot get up. You know, like, I need to know what it is and have a plan in place and things like that. And I need to have a doctor that I'm seeing. I would feel better doing that, you know. But anyway, as far as the traveling, I mean, we're kind of like resigned right now to like not do anything, but like, I think the thing that's hard for me is that like I said, I'm seeing so many people at this point travel that I'm like, okay, and I feel like they're taking a lot of precautions. Many of them are, at least. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe some of the places that they're going, I think, are kind of like risky. I mean, I told Alex about Miami. I said, even if we go Miami, like, there's nothing to do. Like, all the restaurants close early. He goes, well, we could just watch movies in the hotel room, but at least we could go to the beach during the day. I'm like, well, if we were there right now, it'd be pouring down rain because, you know, like, the hurricanes and stuff that are coming through there, which is so dangerous. So we're, like, not really in a hurry to go anywhere, but where are you? I'd be interested to know where you guys are, like, at with the traveling thing. I mean, like, everybody has put off traveling for, you know, like, we're coming up on almost a year at this point, right? Like, February, March will be, like, a year. So where are you guys at with it? Like, would the numbers have to, like, drop to 0 for you guys to travel? Would they have to drop drastically? Are there precautions that you would take to travel? Like, I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about it, you know? Are you done traveling for the next couple years? Have you traveled? Like, I just kind of, like, really like to hear your point of view in the comment section below, you know? Because when I talk to my friends, I feel like Tanya has only done it with family members, like her husband, her son, things like that, her niece. And they, like, went to the grocery store here and took all the food there. So, I think Tanya said they went out to dinner, like, one night. And then the other lake house they went to was here in Indiana. It's like an hour away, and it's her niece's lake cabin. And they literally, like, Tanya went to the grocery store the night before, put everything in a cooler. They went up there for 3 nights, and that was it. Like, they didn't leave the lake house, and they didn't see anybody while they were up there. So I don't feel like that's dangerous at all, you know? I feel like that. And Tanya even said, she was like, how would you feel about, like our sponsor and the 2 of us, and then our other friend, like the 4 of us, going up to her niece's lake house? I said, oh, I would totally do that. You know, like, for us just to get, I mean, we see each other at meetings anyway. I said, for the 4 of us to, like, get in a car and drive over there for an hour and then like be there for 3 days and come home. No, I would feel comfortable doing that. My cousin this weekend, I think, they got a house in Michigan. And it's her and 3 girls that she's friends with. But she's been seeing these friends of hers for like the last couple weeks, last couple months too, you know? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about it. I mean, there's definitely a lot of places that I'm like, I'm not comfortable. Like, I wouldn't go to New York, and I have no desire to. Miami scares me, and Las Vegas scares me right now. Why can't I think of what that beach is in Florida? Destin, Florida. Destin, Florida. I also don't know how warm it stays, or how, you know, how long it stays warm there. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all that. Let me know what decisions you guys have made with your families, you know? Have you done any traveling? Will you in the near future? Are you like totally like, you don't care? Like, what do you think about all of it? When I was getting my hair cut today, I was talking to my hairstylist about it because her daughter is in, I think, 4th grade, and she goes to a private school, but they're like doing the social distancing and stuff, but they're back 5 days a week. And I said, oh, because I had driven by the school one day, and I was like, oh my God, the line to get into your school is like crazy. She's like, the line to get in is crazy, but once you're in, it's like, they have it like sectioned off, so it's like so nice. And she was like, but, because they don't bus, because it's a private school, so there's like no buses. No, it's not true. She told me they have like 3 buses that like one picks up in like Carmel, one picks up in another place, and it's like, you can go there and drop your child off to like stand out there with an adult, and then they like come and pick all those kids up from that area. Does that make sense? So you wouldn't have to like drive like 40 minutes away, which that's kind of nice. But so I was like, does she fight like wearing the mask? And she's like, no, not at all. And her daughter's like real stylish and stuff. And I said, I bet she's really into like, and at the salon they have like really cute masks there that they're selling, like all different kinds. People bring them in and they're making, and then ones they bought, you know, to sell, really cute ones. And I said, oh, I bet she's got all kinds of really cool masks that she loves. And she said, you know, she really doesn't care. She said, we just have a big like basket of like clean masks by the door. And she said, I just, you know, we're walking out, we just grab our mask for the day, and that's what we do, you know. And I was like, that's kind of a cool idea, you know, just have tons and tons of masks, like in this like, you know, like wicker basket by the door, and then just keep on washing them and then throwing them in there, and then, you know, as we're walking out the door, everybody just grab your mask, you know. It's still so strange to me that we live in a world, like, I just kind of can't get over it some days. Like, it doesn't really hit me at all until, like, I kind of, like, really think about it. Like if I'm sitting outside of Meijer or something and I watch everybody go in, and I'm like, we live in a world where everybody has to wear a mask. Like, it's almost kind of like some science fiction thing that, like, if you had told me that, like, 5 or 10 years ago, I never would have believed, you know? If you had told me that 2 years ago, I never would have believed it. If you had said 2 years ago, 2 years from now, because of, you know, like, a disease that's going around, like, everybody is gonna have to wear, or what is infection, not disease, but, you're gonna have to wear a face mask. Like, everybody's gonna be required by law to wear a face mask. I would have been like, you're crazy, that'll never happen in the United States. And here we are, you know? The air smells so good outside. And, you know, I will say this too, like, so I follow Perez Hilton on Twitter, like, he's constantly posting videos that he finds of, like, people, like, being in stores refusing to wear masks, and then, like, the people go crazy and they kick him out of the store. Have you seen these? Some of them are funny. They really are. Like, people, like, I don't know, it's just a lot. But I've never witnessed that, like, anywhere that I've gone. I haven't witnessed anybody. I mean, I turn the air off, you guys, and, like, immediately it gets hot in here. I haven't witnessed anybody, not one person have I seen get upset about it. Now, I've seen a lot of people do this, and I've done this too, where you'll get, like, almost up to the door, and then you're like, oh, I forgot my mask, and you have to run back and get it. But I've done that a couple times, like, you know, because I'll forget my mask. But I don't. Alex is now, you guys, carrying around a fanny pack, okay? And he carries this Fila fanny pack with him. And he has, like, his mask on the corner of it. He just takes it off, like, everywhere we go, and he puts it on. He wears, like, crossbody, like, thing. It looks cute, actually. So anyway, I got my husband. I said, I like your purse. He goes, it's not a purse, it's a fanny pack. I go, okay, whatever. I call mine a purse, but you call yours a fanny pack if you must. Fanny pack, purse, what's the issue? But anyway, Alex has some really cool different masks. Do you remember when it was like at the beginning of all this, we couldn't even find masks, you know? I don't know, it's just also... Like, and then I sit there and I think, you know, everybody's saying that, like, when this winter comes around again, it's going to get really, really bad again. And I'm like, you know, should we go now and buy toilet paper and just have it in the basement in case we need it? Should we go now and buy paper towels? Because, I mean, honestly, I can't go through all that again. Like, where I'm, like, manically, like, freaking out about having to have all this kind of stuff. Although I will say that we haven't had to buy any toilet paper since, like, March, in all honesty. Because Alex bought this huge container of Scotch toilet paper, or Scott toilet paper, which is like what they have in offices, you know? Like that one that's like, it's almost basically like the crepe paper you put in, like, when you wrap a present. It's horrible. It's the worst toilet paper in the entire world. I don't care. Don't ever get it. Especially when it's the same price at Costco to buy, like, a huge thing of, like, the nicest paper towels, or toilet paper in the entire world. Which we have a thing down in the basement, so we haven't had to buy any new toilet paper. Because at that time, we bought some, and we put, like, we have a couple things down in the basement, like, of stuff that we, like, store down there. Like, we have, just in case, like, we would need to, like, have, you know, supplies and stuff. We have, like, I think we have dog food down there, and then we have, what do you call it? A toilet paper, laundry detergent, what else? Dishwashing detergent. Upstairs in the bathroom, we have, like, a lot of we have another thing of toilet paper up there, and then we have one in the garage, paper towels in the garage, trash bags. I think if people know that we're going to be on, like, a lockdown again for longer, I think people will freak out even more the second time. You know, let's just hope that doesn't happen, I guess. You know, it's funny because I was looking through some of these questions that we got tonight on our Q&A, and all these people were like, you know, how did you guys get through the COVID with your relationship, and, like, what was it like being, you know, on lockdown at home? They called it quarantine, I think, but, like, you know, how did you guys get through that as a couple and stuff, like, without, like, fighting all the time? You know, like, we really, like, the first week, I would say, was a little tense, because Alex decided that week that, you know, he was going to start doing Pilates 4 times a day, and be in the best shape of his life. And he was going to complete every project that he had never completed in his life. And he was going to clean the whole house. And, you know, everything in his life that he wanted to complete, he was going to get done during COVID. Well, that lasted a week. So during that week, you know, basically he insinuated that I was the laziest person in the entire world. When I actually got quite a few projects done during COVID, like cleaning out our garage. And I made videos on all my channels almost every single day. So while he was watching one Netflix series after another, I think he watched 17 or 19 Netflix series, you guys. Like, and some of that counts like 8 seasons of like a show. Like, he watched 17 or 19 series, you guys. Like, that is unbelievable, right? Series. During COVID, he counted it. So, I don't know, like, the thing is, like, when Alex and I first got together, like our first couple of years, we did argue about stupid stuff. And we do every once in a while, you know. Like, we still have arguments. I did this Peterisms video the other day where I was like, we just don't allow ourselves to go there or whatever. And like the very next day, like, we got in this argument that was just ridiculous. So, I mean, it still obviously happens. But I don't, like, we travel very well together and we cohabitate together very well. We don't fight each other, like, on what one person does more. I mean, we don't ever do, like, I'm not gonna say we didn't do this in early years together, but we just don't now. It's like, Alex usually always takes the trash out. That's kind of his thing. He didn't do it yesterday. He came home from going out to dinner and he went to bed. I took the trash out. It's whatever. The trash needs to be taken out. Are we gonna fight over it? You know, like, the dogs, Boo Radley eats more if Alex feeds them, because I think he's used to Alex feeding him. I think, like, that's kind of like they see that as this role or something, because when Alex was there for 4 months before that, you know, like, whatever day Alex would get off early, so if he got off early 2 to 3 days a week, somebody is texting me, he would feed them 2 to 3 days a week, right? And then I would feed him the other 3 to 4 days a week or whatever. So it was kind of split down the middle, it just depended. But during COVID, Alex fed them every single day. And some days he fed them twice a day. And he was taking them outside and giving them treats. Unless I would every, you know, once in a while randomly. Because he was just watching Netflix and stuff. So, or doing Zoom calls. So it was more convenient for him to do it because I was filming videos and whatever, right? Well, now, if I feed them, like, I'll take Boo Radley's plate down there, and he just turns around and follows me back up sometimes. I think he doesn't know what to do. Alex can literally walk back in the door, like, he can come in the door 5 minutes later from work, because I'll take Boo Radley's food and put it up, or Tucker will eat it, and then Alex will take the plate of food and walk it down the stairs with Boo Radley following him, or Boo Radley walks in front of us when we do it, and barking the whole time, and put it in his house, and Boo Radley will sit there and eat it, just because Alex put it down there for him. So I think in his head, it's very much like alpha, you know, dog kind of thing, and I think they see Alex as the alpha dog. Because when Alex isn't there, then it's like me that they're following around, and me that they're responding to. But as soon as Alex gets there, it's like, you know. But we got along really, really well. I missed him when he went back to work. Like, I really had a hard time. Where am I at on time? I really had a hard time with my husband going back to work. Like, I missed him. You know, I didn't want him to go back to work. I wanted to continue just to, like, it was nice, you know, because you know, like, one of the comments that I get a lot in videos is that, like, you and Alex live completely separate lives and whatever. Well, that's not true. And people just don't, and I can't see who's texting me, but somebody's texting me. But, I mean, people just don't see how much time that Alex and I really do spend together, you know, just doing what couples do, which is, like, other than, you know, having dinner and things like that, but it's, like, sitting there and, like, one of the things we always do every single day is we always talk about our days to each other. So we'll sit there for a good 45 minutes, and Alex will tell me about his day. I'll be like, how was your day, babe? We usually sit there in the kitchen, you know, or like he'll sit on the couch or the chair, and I'll sit on the couch or the chair in the living room. We'll just sit there and talk, you know, phones down, and I'll be like, how was your day? And he'll be like, oh, this and oh, that. He'll tell me about all this stuff, and oh, I got this email, or, you know, this project somebody sent me, you know, a request for, and then he'll be like, how was your day? And I'll tell him stuff, and like talk to so-and-so or whatever, you know, family stuff that's going on that I, you know. So we spend 45 minutes together, like checking in with each other every day. And then he usually goes upstairs, you know, after he feeds the dogs, or after, like, if the dogs are already fed, he'll go up there and play on Township, you know, for a while. And then I come up there and I, like, lay in bed with him and we talk more. He'll, like, show me TikToks that he's found. Like, tonight I found this woman. Like, that's one of the things we do a lot, is that we, like, share TikToks with each other, or videos. Just stupid little silly stuff, like on Instagram. And we'll just lay there in bed and, like, laugh and look at our phones. Like, we enjoy doing that, you know, together. And then we usually go to dinner somewhere, either by ourselves or with Melissa and Jason. You know, on the weekends, like, we spend a lot of time during the day together. We'll, like, go to brunch, and we might go shopping for an hour afterwards. Or, you know, we'll come home and he'll watch, you know, show, and I'll lay there in bed and talk to him, or, you know, whatever. We're a pretty normal couple, like, compared to all of the friends that I know that are couples, like Tanya and Eric, and Melissa and Jason, and Aaron and Eric, and, I mean, everybody that I know spends about as much time with their husbands and wives as I do. The only difference is, like, with our friends, when they have, like, business meetings or things like that, like, Alex doesn't really have a whole lot of that. He has, like, he goes out to dinner with his girlfriends. And I think because Alex goes out to dinner with his girlfriends, people see that as, like, oh, he could be at home with me. But, like, that's kind of part of the arrangement that we made. Alex and I were both, like, previously in very, like, needy relationships, and I don't want that. Like, and I think the other thing that people don't understand is, like, I enjoy my freedom as much as Alex does. Like, I enjoy, like, driving around and listening to an audiobook. I'm not willing to compromise that. Like, that's something that's important for me today, you know? I like having time alone. I really, really enjoy it. I don't know. You know, it's like my cousin Caroline, she does a lot of things with, like, her girlfriends. Like, you know, she'll go out to dinner, like, twice a week, or she'll go over to somebody's house for, like, you know, a glass of wine or whatever, or 5, or go out of town on vacations with her girlfriends. And, you know, like, she definitely takes more trips with her girlfriends than she does with her husband, Mike, and he doesn't care. You know, people aren't like, oh my God, you never spend any time together. They spend a lot of time together. They have dinner every night together, you know. I think it used to bother me when people would make that comment, because then I would look at my relationship and I'd say, well, is something wrong with my relationship? Like, are they seeing something that I'm not seeing? You know what I mean? But I know that that's not true today, you know? And I don't think anybody means anything mean by it. Well, no, that's not true. I do think I have had some haters in the past that have said some very cruel things, but I think the majority of people that comment on it, they're not saying anything mean by it. They're just questioning it. Like, it doesn't make sense to them because it doesn't look like what they have. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, what works for different people works for different people. One of the things that we don't talk a lot about is that when Alex and I first got together for the first 2 or 3 years, there was nothing that Alex did that I didn't do, and there was nothing that I did that Alex didn't do. We literally were on top of each other 24 hours a day. From me taking him to work, to his classes, to picking him up, because we were a one-car family, to us, me picking him up, to us going to the gym to work out 5 days a week, to then go eating out, to then coming home and taking naps, or going to the store to buy an outfit for the night, to then going out Wednesday through Sunday, of which we would be out at the same club, bar, whatever, Wednesday through Sunday, and then go to, you know, Steak and Shake or Denny's on the way home, and start it all over the next day. And then on the weekends, we would sleep in and take naps. It sounds very romantic, right? It was smothering on both sides, and I never saw my friends. He never saw his friends. It was just the two of us, always. And as much as, like, we had a lot of fun during those times, you know, there were a lot of things that, like, Alex would say to me that, like, I look back, and for him being so much younger, like, he really understood things about relationships. Like, I can remember he said to me one time, he goes, you know, oh, my battery's about to die. He was like, you don't ever give me the opportunity to miss you because I'm always with you. And I can remember being like, well, you don't want to spend all your time with me? It was kind of my attitude, right? And he was like, no. He was like, I just want to be able to miss you. Like, you know, when couples don't get to see their partner for a couple days, then they are more excited when they see him afterwards. There is so much truth to that. There is so much truth to that, you know? Like, sometimes when Alex has a really... Okay, I'm back. I had to turn in this neighborhood to, like, replace the battery. And I was, like, gonna just turn around back up there. But I was like, I'm gonna pull through this neighborhood. Right here, my good friend, she was about a year sober when I met her. I think she's about 5-6 years sober now. But anyway, I used to spend a lot of time with her when I first came back into meetings. And she lived in that house right over there. She moved now. She moved into a really... And that house is cute, too. But she moved into a really cute house. But we used to spend so many... Saturday nights on her patio drinking coffee and just like talking. It was so much fun. She was one of my really, really dear friends when I came back into the rooms, and I met her, and I think she had like a year or 18 months when I met her. And so she had kids, and she had just recently gotten divorced. She has 2 kids, and she had recently just gotten divorced. And so her kids were with her ex every other weekend. So she and I would hang out. Yeah, but it was this house right here. Let's see it. Good old days. Anyway, what was I saying about Alex was that, like, you know, when he'll work, like, he'll have to leave at like 7 in the morning, and then he works, and he goes out with his girlfriends, and he comes home late, and then the next day he starts it all over again. So I really don't see him, like, in a 2-day span. I don't see him a whole lot. Like, I'm ready to spend some time with my husband. Do you know what I mean? Like, I miss him. And so today, that's so true. Or like when he'll go to, like, out of town for, like, well, he hasn't done this for a long time, but on, like, bachelor weekends, when I would call it, you know, Peepee and Peter's bachelor weekends, like, I would really miss him because he would go away for 2 days, like a Friday and a Saturday, and come home on a Sunday late, and I would miss him, you know. So then I was ready to spend some time with him. I was excited, but I have to, you know, in all honesty, to be honest, that like on those 2 days that he was gone, like, I really kind of enjoyed spending some time to myself too. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, and I think it's really just about communicating your needs to the other person and what they want. I don't think that our marriage would work for everybody, you know. But I don't think other people's marriage would work for me. It's interesting because Tanya and Eric's marriage is very similar to ours, and Jason and Melissa's marriage is very similar to ours as well. And so it's funny that, like, the 2 couples that we're closest with are, like, when you look at our relationships, like, they're very similar. And what it is that you have 6 very independent people that kind of paired off. But I wasn't when we first got together, you know. But I had been in a relationship previously where I defined myself by him. Like, I couldn't imagine myself, like, not with him, you know. Like, and that wasn't really healthy. And, like, when we went to marriage counseling, Alex and I, you know, one of my biggest fears about going to marriage counseling was I was afraid that, like, we were going to lay all of our cards on the table and the counselor was going to look at us and be like, well, maybe you guys aren't meant to be together, or we would realize that. I was afraid of that, right? But one of the things, and I've talked about this, I think I just talked about this recently on here. Maybe it was my Peterson's channel, I don't know. But one of the things that I realized by going to marriage counseling was that, didn't I say that I was going to make these short vlogs this week, and here I've gone over an hour? One of the things, probably one of the most important things I learned was that if Alex and I did not make it, if Alex and I made it and our relationship improved as a result of counseling, then that was fantastic. If Alex and I did not make it, okay, because we had said when we went into it, we're giving this a year. We ended up going 2.5 years. But we were like, if we had gone and at the end of a year, we had said to each other, this isn't improving, I think it's time for us to go our separate ways, I would have felt like I'd given that marriage everything that I wanted to give it. I think he would have felt the same way. And what I realized was I would be okay. I would be sad. I would miss him. that I would be okay, that I no longer defined myself by the need to be with somebody, that I could be single, I could be divorced and be okay. And then what that allowed was for me to realize that I'm not with Alex because, like my previous relationships, I felt like I needed those people. Like I didn't know how I would survive if I wasn't with them, you know? Like we see that in movies, that kind of love that's like I need you, like what would I ever do without you? And that looks romantic, but it's really kind of sick love, because what that says is that you define your existence by somebody else's existence. And that's really the epitome of codependency. And that was me in past relationships. And that was me in our early years of our relationships together, Alex and I's relationship together. And really more than anything, I think that almost pushed him away, you know? And I realize today that Alex is in my life because I choose for him to be there. And I'm in his life because he chooses for me to be there. Not because we feel like we're cosmically pulled together, you know, or because, like, I don't know what I would do without him, therefore I can never leave him, or what would my life look like if he wasn't in my life. I'd be okay. It would hurt. It would hurt like hell, and I'd be sad, and I would miss him, but eventually I would be okay. And I know that, you know. I would move through the pain, and I would make it through to the other side, and eventually I would be okay. And that there was a lot of freedom, there was tons of freedom that came with that, because then I looked at him in a completely different way, and I thought, oh, like I choose to be in a relationship with you, and you choose to be in a relationship with me, and that's power, right? Because then it's like, I'm sitting across this table from you, I'm, you know, sleeping in bed with you, I'm making love to you, I'm doing all these things because I choose for you to be in my life. I love you. I want you to be an extension of my life, and you want me to be an extension of your life. And that changed everything for us. And our counselor gave us that, because that was the way that he molded our whole counseling to some degree. I hadn't seen it that way with any other relationship. I can remember just thinking like I couldn't breathe, I was gonna have panic attacks, I was gonna die, like with my exes when we broke up, and you know, parts of the breakups, and that's not healthy, you know. And I had been like that in our relationship too, you know. I'm like so addicted to that Sol de Janeiro lip balm. I had Alex today try it at brunch. He's like, no, I don't want to try. I go, you never want to try anything that I suggest to you. Like, if it's a food or a product, he's always like, no, like that. I go, just try it, trust me. And so he like, literally he went like this. Like he was gonna engage me, you know, to show that he would do it. But he wasn't gonna like do it all the way. So he went like this. Like, here, I'll show you that I'll do it. But then he went. Like he really liked it. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. You love it, see? I think that also opened the door for me realizing that not just my husband, but everybody that's in my life, including my family, that includes my father, everybody that's in my life is there because I choose for them to be there. Nobody has to be in my life. I could live my life completely alone on a mountain if I wanted to. That's my choice. What I do with my life, you know, I learned this when my mom passed away, that when you're born, we're born, we live, we die, and what we put in the middle of it is ours. If I want to live out in the middle of nowhere by myself and never talk to another living soul, that is my business. If I don't want to have any relationships with anybody in my family and no friends, that is my business. Therefore, every person that is in my life, from my dad and my stepmom to my cousin to my husband to my best friend to my sponsor to other friends of mine to my support network, everybody that's in my life is there because I choose for them to be there, right? Well, if that's the case, then every person's life that I am in, I'm there because they choose for me to be part of their life too. And that is such an honor. Like, there is really no greater honor, if you really think about it, than people allowing you to be in their life. So if you are in a relationship, look at that person and say, you know, or think it to yourself at least, thank you to me for allowing me to be in your life, you know, and to your family as well. Like, I think sometimes we take all of that stuff for granted. It's why, like, with my YouTube channels and stuff, like, it is never missed on me that, like, you guys out there that choose to allow, like, those of you that watch, like, every single video that I post every single day, I mean, we're talking about sometimes 2.5 hours of, you know, video, I was gonna say content, but that's funny, you know, videos a day, right? That you're giving me 2.5 hours of your life, or at the minimum, let's just say a half an hour of your life, right? Like, that's a huge deal when you think we only have 24 hours in a day, and people are willing to give me 20 minutes to an hour of their day every single day. Like, thank you. Like, that is such an honor, you know, and I don't take that lightly. I don't think a lot of YouTubers, like, really get that, you know? And, you know, I think for me, those were things I learned in marriage counseling that came as a side note to everything else that I learned, you know, and I'm so grateful for it. I had bits and pieces of that before I went, but that also had to do with the fact that we had, like, a phenomenal counselor, you know, and Alex and I want to find somebody else, just to go in and talk to about things. And I think it'd be good for Alex and I to talk to somebody about Peepee passing away and the grief that we have associated with that. Some days are really, really hard. And you know, we don't have really any of the issues that we had when we initially went into marriage counseling. But I can tell you right now, had our counselor not retired to go chase his dream job, of which I'm very happy for him, but had he not retired and closed down his practice, we would still be going to see him. You know, would we be going every week? No. We weren't going every week at the end, but anyway, no, we wouldn't, you know. But would we be still seeing him consistently? Sure, because I think it was fantastic to bounce ideas off of. And it was like taking master classes kind of in marriage, in all honesty. Like, people were like, at that time, I can remember I would get comments and people would be like, well, if everything's okay, why are you continuing to go to marriage counseling? Well, like, just because you're the greatest athlete in the world doesn't mean that you don't continue to have private coaches. Just because you're a great singer doesn't mean that you stop having vocal coaches. If you want to have the best marriage in the world, why not continue to go to counseling? It's like taking master classes in in marriage. It's like you continue to learn things about your partner and the marriage that are going to improve it. Listen, I want to be with my husband for the rest of my life. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know that I'm not going to get on my videos tomorrow and be like, hey, you guys, Alex and I decided that, you know, we need to part ways. It's just not working. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what tomorrow holds for me. But as long as I'm with this man in my life that I love and who is the love of my life, I want to have the best marriage possible. Why would I not want that? Why would I want anything less than that? And if I'm going to have that, then we have to do as many things as we can to make it that way. And marriage counseling has proved to be extremely helpful for us, you know? I think I was kind of worn out about the price of it. Like, not the price, but like, because he was like, our guy was really fair. But I was like, I mean, we're going to go, we're going to spend all this money and blah, 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 whatever. I was just like, it's a lot of money, you know, which it was a lot of money, but it was the best investment I've made in the last 10 years of my life. All honesty, it was. But you know what's interesting is that I can remember when we started it, I was like, I think our guy was like $90 or $95 a week. I can't remember. But basically $100 a week. And I was like, okay, so we're basically spending $5,200 a year to see him. Well, more than that, because some weeks that we were seeing him at the beginning, like, I would see him and then we'd both have couples counseling too. So, you know, we were probably spending about $6,500 a year, like our first year, $7,000 maybe. And I was like, this is so expensive. I mean, and Alex and I split the money, so we split it right down the middle. Like, if I paid for a session, he paid for the next one, kind of thing. And I was like, this is so expensive. But, you know, in all honesty, like, after a while, like, I don't even know where the money came from. Like, I didn't realize like, I didn't notice it missing, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't like I was scrambling to try to find the money to pay for the sessions. Like, it was really hurting us. Like, it just became such a necessity and something that we enjoyed and we loved to do. And that's not to say that we didn't ever leave there, like, having had an argument or a misunderstanding. Okay, I started telling, like, kind of a personal story. I gave an example of something that's really not that deep, but I'm not going to give that example of it. But, you know, one of the things that was, like, really great is that he, like, set boundaries and limits for us, like, you know. And so, like, one of the things that he said was, because I'm not going to say that we always, like, left there on, like, perfect terms. I mean, we usually did. We usually went out to dinner right afterwards, and a lot of times we went out to dinner with Melissa and Jason. That kind of became a thing. I think we saw him on Tuesday evenings for marriage counseling for a while, because every other week I couldn't go to my home group meeting. And then afterwards, because we would go from like 7 to 8, and then afterwards we would go meet Melissa and Jason for dinner at Cheesecake Factory. We did that a lot. It was really like one of the greatest things about counseling was that we both realized we really needed to have another couple in our life to be accountable to, and to have another married couple that we were really close with and good friends with, that I don't know, I just think that really improves a marriage. And so that was at a point where Melissa and Jason, like, we were already good friends with them, but we became even better friends with them. And there was nothing that we did not tell them that came up. I mean, we told them everything. You know, they were very honest with us about their marriage. And, you know, like, they've been, like, so we've been together 9 years. They've been together 18 years. We've been married 9 years. They've been married 18. We've been married 9 years. They've been married 18 years. And Jason and Melissa they kind of led us into a lot of things that, like, well, this worked for us. And this, you know, I mean, they were very honest with us. And, you know, about what worked in their marriage. They were role modeled good marriage to us. And, but, you know, like, our counselor would, like, he would say, like, if we would leave and we were both kind of like, I can't think of a time that we ever left where we were, like, screaming angry at each other. Like, I can't, like, that never happened. I don't remember that ever happening. But there were times that we were leaving and it was like, because we would go over sometimes our sessions, you know, and he'd be like, okay, I got to get out of here and whatever, because he'd have another client, you know, coming or waiting out in the waiting area. But I can remember, well, some couple times he didn't have clients, and we would go like a half an hour over, because I paid him extra one time because I felt so bad. I think I may have done that more than once, because he was like really, that was so nice that he wouldn't just be like, okay, we're cutting it off here because we're right in the middle of it. He would wait until we kind of resolved something. But there was like a couple times where we were like, you could tell we were like at odds when we were leaving there, you know. And he would say, here's the deal. You don't talk about it. You wait till marriage counseling next week. Between now and then, you don't bring it up. If somebody starts bringing it up, the other person cuts it down. Blame it on me. And I can remember, like, we would, like, you know, something would happen, like, and we would get into a little, like, you know, argument, and, like, I would bring up, you know, I'd say, well, this is what I was talking about, and then, like, Alex would look at me, and he would say, let's say, I'm not gonna say what our counselor's name was, but let's say if it was Bob, he would say, you know, like, he would say, Bob said that we're not supposed to talk about it until next week. And that, like, would shut it down right away. Or if, like, Alex would bring it up, and he'd be like, see? Like, this is, now you understand what I'm, and I'd be like, so Bob said, I mean, it was really like a safe word, you know? And we so trusted the process, and we so trusted our counselor that we were like, you know? And I think that was one of the things, is that, like, on day one, he looked at us, and he goes, do you guys want to save your marriage? And we both were like, yeah. And he was like, okay, let's do some work. Like, we were both committed to it. Like, we were in it to win it, you know? And I think that really makes a huge difference. If you're going to go to counseling, you have to both be like, okay. I mean, I see so many people that are willing to invest so much money in attorneys to fight the other person to get money in the divorce. They'll spend so much time and energy doing this and that, but they won't put the same time and energy into saving their relationship or saving their marriage. And it makes me so sad, you know? It's like Think back to those early days when you first got together and you like would see that person across the room and you get butterflies, or you know, you couldn't wait to hear their voice in a phone or get dressed up to go out to dinner with them. You know what I mean? Like, or the first vacation. Like, think back to that. Now you guys hate and despise each other. What are we doing? Like, lead with love and care enough about yourself and your relationship and your marriage, or just your relationship if you're in one, to fix it, or to at least attempt to fix it. I mean, that was Alex and I's thing. We were neither one of us like ready to like walk away. Like with my ex, like, because that's a whole other relationship, that's a whole other discussion, and Alex's his ex, that was a whole other, you know, discussion. But like at the end, I kind of like knew it was, I think we both knew like it was done at the end, if that makes sense. I didn't feel that with Alex. Like, I didn't, when we were looking at going to marriage counseling and Alex was really pushing it, like, I didn't feel it. Like, I didn't feel like it was over, you know? And I remember asking my dad with my ex, I called him and I said, how did you, because I thought I would be with him for the rest of my life, my ex. And I called my dad and I said, hey Dad, can I ask you a question? And he said, yeah. And I said, how did you know it was over between you and Mom? And he said, oh, he was like, oh, Pete. I know that sounds funny the way I just said it, but I can hear it in my head. It was like, he was like, man, he was like, is that where you're at? And I said, I don't know, what do you mean? And he goes, well, if you're asking that, then you're probably already there. And he was right, you know, like, I think I just didn't want to, like, I kept on thinking, like, if we can make it to Christmas, because we loved Christmas so much. I was looking for, you know, all these reasons for why it was going to be okay. We could make it work, you know? It was funny because I think I shared this on here. I can't remember when this was. I think it was when our friend Scotty passed away last summer. And I talked to him on the phone. And I was asking him if he wanted to go to the funeral, like meet us down there and stuff. And, you know, like, and today, like, I asked my husband, like, do you care if I call him and ask him? And he's like, no, not at all. Like, you know, like, we're very open with each other about that. Like, Alex's ex was fantastic when Peepee was sick and passed away. Like, you know, there's just, like, neither one of us is obviously threatened by these past relationships. Well, Alex's ex has been in a relationship about as long as we have been. So, not that matters, but anyway. They're both nice guys. They're both really great guys. It just didn't work out with, you know, all of us. But anyway, so I can remember when I called him, and I said, you know, because I've had haters on my channel that have reached out to every member of my family and all of my friends and they've tried to tell them things or ruin whatever, you know. My friends and my family are not that gullible, just so you know, right? So when I was talking to him on the phone, I said, like, I've been very good. People have found him, but I've been very good about not ever mentioning his name and being very anonymous and keeping him very private on here, right? And he knows I've told the stories about the pink tutu and going to visit Seymour, and, you know, like, I've told stories about him. Well, he knows that. I've told him that in the past. Because, I mean, he has a right to know that stuff. You know, he doesn't care. And, so, I said to him at that time, I said, has anybody ever, like, reached out to you? And, like, he goes, no, not at all. Oh my God, I started getting into this whole story right after I said, you know, like, I don't tell any stories about him. I started telling the story about him, and then, like, his name flew out of my mouth, which, whatever, I don't even think he would care, in all honesty, but I'm not going to do that. So anyway, I was, like, talking to him, and I was like, nobody's ever, like, reached out to you or anything, and he was like, no. He has, like, literally, like, no social media, though. I mean, I think he has Facebook, but he, like, doesn't even use it. I know he told me that. I think that time I talked to him, he said he doesn't ever use Facebook anymore. And I don't believe he's on Instagram and on Twitter, and I don't think he's on any of that kind of stuff. But anyway, he goes, what would they say? And I can't remember what I really do not honestly remember the conversation. I said, I don't know, just try to tell you that I'm, like, the worst person in the world or whatever. He goes, he goes, well, I would tell them that you were one of the greatest boyfriends I had ever had, and that it was my fault that we broke up, and something like that. And I go, that is so not true. It wasn't your fault that we broke up. And he was like, yeah, well, probably it was, or something. It's kind of like this very genuine moment, you know? And it was funny that it came as a result of me asking him if anybody had ever, like, reached out to bother him, you know? And I go, well, I said, you know, we've both learned and grown. And I said, and it wasn't any more your responsibility than it was mine. And he was like, yeah, you're probably right. But, it's interesting, you know, like Alex and I talk a lot about that, like, things we carried into our relationship. You know, it's crazy. I was 35 when he and I broke up. And, almost, you know, it was 14 years ago. But I think it's those things you carry in from past relationships and stuff, you know. My ex and I had a very civil breakup. Alex and his ex didn't have such a great civil breakup, but they're fine today. Like, I think it was a lot because they were younger, you know how that is, and they were really like my ex and I, we didn't ever go out, but like Alex's ex, like, their whole relationship occurred like on a college campus and in bar scene, you know what I mean? So like, I think there's a difference with that. But all I know is that when Alex called him about Peepee, because he actually gave Alex Peepee as a birthday gift, like, he was phenomenal to Alex. And because Alex asked me, he said, you had said one time that if something was wrong with Peepee, this is like where the rubber meets the road, you know what I mean? I mean, Peepee's not leaving our bed the last, you know, couple days. He can't really go anywhere. And so Alex said to me, he goes, you know, you had said that if Peepee ever got really sick, you would be okay with, like, him coming over and saying goodbye. He goes, he was like, do you care if I call him? And I said no. And he goes, if he wants to come and say goodbye, how do you feel about that? And I just kind of looked, and I was like, I mean, Peepee was my dog. You know, I had a relationship with Peepee. But I was like, no, like, I don't care. Like, if he wants to come over and say goodbye, you know what I mean? Like, in that moment, it was so crazy. Like, I felt like I had such grace. I didn't feel threatened. I just thought about this little dog that had impacted everybody's life in such a positive way. And he didn't want to come over, but he was awesome to Alex on the phone. And, you know, and he told him, like, you know, tell Peter thank you for being such a great dad to Peepee. And, you know, like, you don't have to fight with your exes. You can get along with them, you know? I'm not a believer, like, when people say things to me like, well, none of it must have been real, or, you know, all of it's gone and whatever. I'm like, that's not true. Like, you had very real moments in your relationship. Just because it broke up and you guys ended didn't mean that it wasn't, like, this fantastic thing for a while, or that you didn't have great moments and awesome, amazing moments, right? You had all that. It was very real in those moments. And I think so many people get caught up in this, like, now that it's over, like, I don't want anything to do with them, tear the pictures up, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not talking about in horribly abusive situations like that. That's a completely different story, okay? I'm talking about the run-of-the-mill breakup. I remember when my ex and I first moved into an apartment together, and I found this box of pictures from he and his ex underneath the bed. And, like, they had lived together for a while and stuff, like, for years, a couple years. Like, I think they had been together like 6 years. No. My ex and I had been together almost 5, so they had been together 5 years, I think. They had lived together the majority of that time. so he had this box of pictures, like a shoebox of pictures, shoebox full of pictures underneath the bed. And it was like pushed underneath the bed and like way up into the middle of it. And so I pulled it out and I put it on the bed. And man, he came home from work and he looked so nervous. And he was like, I'm sorry. I said, I don't want you to be sorry about anything. I said, I don't want you to feel like you have to hide your history in a shoebox hidden way beneath the bed, that you have to be ashamed of it or embarrassed. I said, that was part of your life. He was part of your life. I don't want you to feel like you can't look at those if you need to look at them. I said, I don't want them in frames around the house. Like, I don't need your ex framed around the house. Okay, but like, I don't want you to feel like if you need to pull them out and remember those times, like, I'm okay with that. I'm not like threatened by that, you know? And it was so crazy because when we broke up, he didn't take that box of shit. He didn't take those pictures with him. He didn't take a whole lot with him. I think a lot of people are just kind of ready to move on. Everybody deals with that differently because the reality is you're grieving the loss of a relationship. You know what I mean? So you're grieving the loss of what you like used to know. It was so funny on these Q&A questions. It's not funny, but like on this Q&A questions, I was looking at them, and so many people were like, thank you for talking about your marriage counseling. Thank you for being so open about your marriage counseling. What was the number one thing you learned from your marriage counseling? You know, if you could give anybody advice about marriage counseling, what would it be? I mean, it was all these questions about marriage counseling. And, you know, I thought to myself, not a lot of people really talk about, like, not a lot of couples. It was never like this thing that I questioned, right? But like talking about it, like Alex and I mean, I obviously asked my husband if he was okay with me talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. But at the same time, it was like, it wasn't this like big gesture that I thought about, like, should I or should I not, you know, talk about it. I just kind of started talking about it one day, you know, after Alex was okay with it. And you know, what is that noise? That scared the hell out of me. Back in the day, oh, they're like putting something in that dumpster. You know, I would watch all these couples on YouTube, and I started watching them because they were just like, I would see these couples and like they gave me hope, I think, for having this like great relationship where people smiled all the time, they were so happy all the time, all that kind of stuff. None of those couples are together today. Hell, most of them didn't even make it past 2 or 3 years, you know? And they broke up, and like, it's like that Will and RJ that used to be on Shep 689. I was obsessed with that channel. I watched every video they ever posted for 7 years of vlogging. They hate each other now. They are so nasty to each other on social media. It like makes me so sad, you know? It's like, it's just, the whole thing is so sad to me. It's like a lot of couples that are like that. They're like, you know? And I had always said if I was going to be a couple on YouTube, or I was going to show being a couple on YouTube, that like I was going to be a real couple on YouTube. Like we were going to be a real couple. We weren't going to be some BSC couple, you know what I mean? And that's just part of it, is there are going to be times in your marriage that you might need to seek some outside help from a counselor, or, you know, life coach or a therapist. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing whatsoever, you know? We need to normalize counseling and therapy and life coaching. We need to normalize people getting help for mental health treatment and addiction treatment. And we need to normalize people getting help for marriage, their marriages, or their lack of motivation, or not being career driven, or having sexual problems, or, and what I mean by that is like not feeling comfortable having sex, or not like feeling capable of having sex, or whatever you're define that is. We don't talk about intimacy enough because we're so afraid to talk about it. We're afraid to talk about mental health because we don't want other people to know what's going on behind our closed doors, you know? We don't want to talk about addiction because, well, maybe we're to blame for somebody's addiction issues. We don't want to talk about any of this kind of stuff because my hand is itching. Isn't that me? I'm supposed to come in with money, but I think it's the other hand. You know, we don't want to talk about these real serious things. God forbid we talk about the fact that we might have gotten divorced had we not gone to marriage counseling, or probably would have gotten divorced had we not gone to marriage counseling, because we're afraid of what other people will think. If we actually in a YouTube video say, we might have gotten divorced and probably would have gotten divorced had we not gone to counseling, well then what will people think? They'll think that we're not a couple that loves each other. God forbid a couple actually goes and gets counseling. God forbid we ever show that we don't smile 24 hours a day and love each other so much, you know? It's like, that's not reality. It just isn't. People wake up pissed off. People wake up in a bad mood. You know? Sometimes I don't want to deal with my husband's bad mood, and I'm sure sometimes he doesn't want to deal with mine. Sometimes we argue over stupid stuff. Sometimes we argue over serious stuff. Sometimes we get along just great. Sometimes we have amazing days, you know? But I think a marriage is about all of it. A marriage is about all of those days in between and making a commitment to stay together no matter what, you know? It's like my friend that died when he was 81, and he said to me when he was at our wedding, you know? I said to him, what would be the number one piece of advice you would give me getting married? And he goes, divorce is not an option. He goes, I mean, divorce is an option. He goes, but you have to lead with the mindset that it's not an option, you know? Lead with love. And I hope I don't ever get divorced. But if I do, you know, and if Alex and I decide that that's where we're at some point, I'll get on YouTube and I'll be honest about it and say, you know what, looks like we're not going to make it. And that breaks my heart, and I'm sad about it. And, you know, it's going to change my life drastically. It's like, I watch Marky Miller and Ethan Huffcoat. I like them as a couple, and they're both from Indiana, and we have a lot of friends of ours that knew them in college, because Mark went to Ball State, Ethan went to IU. So a couple of our friends were friends with Mark Miller. Kind of like friend associates, people we haven't seen in years. But anyway, they did a video that was so bizarre. That was their breakup video. But they said it wasn't a breakup video. And this is when they were living in LA. Because Ethan had gotten his own apartment. And they had actually been living apart for like 3 to 4 months. And it was going to be so difficult and so hard because they were best friends. And they were still going to be best friends. They just weren't going to be boyfriends anymore. I was so confused by this video. Anyway. This was a couple years ago. So then, Mark does some other videos by himself. And then Ethan starts showing up in his videos again. And you guys are like, I don't watch these people. Who are you talking about? They're just a gay couple. Anyway, they live in Nashville now. But Ethan started showing up in his videos again, and then all of a sudden they're living together. Like, literally, you guys, that like the breakup video never happened. And I go look, I'm like, I know I saw that breakup video. Like, am I losing my mind? Like, I've watched them for years. I know I watched that breakup video. They had taken it down. The breakup video was gone, like it never existed. And I was watching this update video that they did in and they talked about it in like one video, I think, later. But then I was watching their update that they did in Nashville. They were saying they're drinking coffee on the couch, and I love them. You know, they're a very sweet couple, and they're very earthy, and they just, I don't know, they live a cool life, right? So I'm watching this video, and one of them referenced that video and was like, do you remember when we made the breakup video or whatever? And he was like, oh, it was never really a breakup video. And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is what I felt. Like, you guys literally get 200,000 views a video, okay? They have like 600,000 subscribers. What a missed opportunity. I almost cussed. What a missed opportunity. That you could have like educated your subscribers on what you went through, and how tough that was to come up with a decision to break up for whatever reason that was. You didn't need to be honest about that. That's your personal business, right? But just to say, we broke up, we made the decision for Ethan to get another apartment. It was so hard. And then we started spending time together, and we realized we really wanted to be together, you know? And part of the reason we moved was because we love Nashville, but yes, maybe LA isn't great for us or something. Who knows? I mean, you wonder when you watch this stuff, right? But it's like, to me, it was like such a missed opportunity. I thought, think of all of the gay couples out there that watch you, all of the straight couples out there that watch you, that you would have been giving them some hope. That, like, just because you break up doesn't mean you can't get back together. It doesn't mean it's over, you know? Like, and each of them at that time went on and kind of found their own things, and I think they kind of found themselves being apart. And maybe that's what part of it was. You know, it was such a missed opportunity, I think, because they were more concerned with letting their audience down. Well, that's when YouTube stands in the way of authenticity. And I don't know. Like, I kind of started losing interest in them after that. I like them. Like I said, you know, they seem like real nice guys and stuff like that. But I just, like, after that, I just was kind of like, I get it. It's about the views. It's, you know, I mean, yeah, I say all the time it's about the views because we want people to watch our videos. But there's a difference to me, you know, that loss of authenticity when you have the opportunity to do that. Because literally anything that they do in a video, people are going to be like, oh, yes, yes, yes. All you had to do is get on there and tell the truth about, like, what had happened. And, like, and I'm not coming for them. Like I said, they're really nice guys. Maybe they didn't know how to do that or whatever. But to just delete a breakup video and act like it never existed, like, you could have helped so many people that are going through breakups. Like, and that's not their responsibility. I know, you know, but... So, you know, when Alex and I got on video, I don't share everything on video that goes on with my husband and I. There are things that are, quite frankly, none of your business. You know what I mean? And there are things that are private between my husband and I that are just ours. And that's fine. I share enough of our lives that there are things, I'm allowed to keep a few things, you know, private. But what a marriage looks like, if we're going to be a couple at all, even in some kind of slight way on YouTube, even though the channels are mine, yeah, I think, like, what an opportunity to allow people to see that marriage isn't perfect. Couples aren't perfect. I've never met a perfect marriage or I've never met a perfect married couple or a perfect couple in my life. But I watch a lot of YouTubers that seem that way. But I will say this, I also don't want to see fighting on video. You know, like, that's the other thing. Like, I think to talk about the process and to talk about, like, we worked through things, like, that is great. But, like, I don't want to see people fighting on video. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen that with some couples, and it's cringy to me. Like, I don't like it. I don't like when, like... Well, I don't really care to pick any names out, but I just, like... There have been some YouTubers that they've, like, fought on camera, or I don't know if they do it for the video or why they do it, but, like, whatever reason it is, it's very it's patronizing, and it's demeaning to me, and not just of the other person, but of the relationship in general. To me, it says you don't respect your own relationship, is what it says, that you would allow that to be shown in a video. I think there's teasing that happens in relationships. I think there's poking fun. I think that's definitely part of being in a relationship for a long time. You take stuff that happened 10, 12 years ago and you poke fun with it today. But, you know, like, I think to belittle somebody on camera or to be mean to them or to outwardly just argue is like, why are you showing that? I don't enjoy watching that. Like, that's not fun to me. Is that fun to watch to you? To see people argue? Like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't know, and maybe with, like, Mark and Ethan, like, they get so many comments that are, like, literally, like, you guys are so great, you guys are perfect. I mean, I posted this, so it's very similar to this. I posted this picture on Instagram of our anniversary, and I got so many comments that were like, you guys are literal goals, you guys are couple goals, no, we're not. No, we're not. Thank you. I don't know, is that a compliment? I don't know. We're not, okay? Like, trust. There's a lot of things that we need to work on, you know? I'm very, very proud of my relationship. You know, if people saying your couple goals because we are willing to go to counseling, because we're willing to work on our relationship, and that we're willing to open ourselves up to what things we each individually need to work on and grow to make our marriage stronger, then I'll take that all day long. Yes, then we are literal couple goals. I appreciate that. Thank you. But is it based on because like people see us look romantic and romantical in a picture? I always say that. People, no, I mean, we're just, that's not it. You know what I mean? Like, that's a picture. You know, like, this is the last I'll say about it, and I'm gonna get off here, but you know when you like work really, really hard on like a project? And this could be like from school to like work to like doing something around the house. Like, oh my God, their mums at Kroger are gorgeous. I've been like looking for them and I can't find them anywhere that are good. They are so pretty. Well, not those, no. But these, like, look at those. Are those not so pretty? I should get out right now. Well, they're closed right now, aren't they? But anyway, I was gonna say, because there's nobody here, would be a great time to do it. But you know, like, any project that you work on, like painting in your house, or if you're exercising and it's like you want to lose like 80 pounds and get to this size, like that takes a lot of work. And think about how proud you are when you have it done, right? Okay. Any project that you work really, really hard on, at the end, don't you feel so much more proud of it because of all the time and energy and effort that you put into it, and like how much time and energy and it took to get your goal met, and how proud of yourself you are? That's how I feel with my marriage, right? Do I think we'll last forever? I don't know. I hope so. I don't really live in that space today where I'm like, you know, we're gonna be together for always and ever. I don't live there anymore. I live there in like, we're doing really good right now, and I hope that I can say the same thing a year from now, but we'll see. You know, like that's where I live today. I live in a more realistic place. And there's been a lot of things I've had to let go of through the years, you know? I've had to let go of this kind of like fairy tale mentality that I've always had about relationships. But I don't know that that was real healthy for me in the first place, you know? I don't know if that's been, I don't know. I think that mentality was what led me in the past to just be like, well, these problems will fix themselves, or we're just meant to be together, so nothing will break us apart. And then I just overlooked stuff that made me unhappy or that wasn't working. And then we never fixed anything in the past, you know? In any of my relationships, Alex or my other two relationships, or even the ones that came before that were so short-lived that I didn't even really count them as real relationships, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I was gonna vlog for a half an hour tonight, and I've literally gone on for like an hour and a half, so we're gonna get off here now. So anyway, I'm gonna do a real short outro. If you guys have made it this far in the video vlog, thank you so much for watching. This shirt is like on my shoulders, it's driving me nuts. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video vlog, please, vlog, please, like the old days when the Vlog brothers, that's what I used to call them, the Vlog brothers. If you really liked this video vlog, please give it a big thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. And also put a comment in the comment section below if you would like to. And if you want to just put an emoji, let's down there all put, what emoji should we put? Some kind of couple emoji. Whatever, however you like identify, or however you want to be, or whatever, you know what I mean? You know, the couple or family emojis, put whatever, just a person kind of emoji. And I'm gonna stop here and start this outro for just a little bit. Let me get some lip balm. And put that in the comment section below. And if you already subscribed to my channel, please lock my door because I don't want somebody walking right up on me like that last night, or the night before when I was in there. And if you're already subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you're still subscribed. And My reading glasses, I have now, the ones that I was like so careful with at the beginning, I'm now throwing them in my fanny pack with no glass coverage in it. So I need to do that. But please, oh, here's some, well, I dropped, so I'll put some in right now. Please make sure that if you're already subscribed to my channel, if you've already subscribed, thank you for subscribing. And please make sure that you're still subscribed to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please think about it. Say, hey, I think I might want to subscribe to this channel. And I would love to have you over here. It would really mean a lot to me. I vlog almost every single night. I think I've only missed a week, my entire 4 years almost of vlogging. And that was the week after Peepee, my little dog, passed away. Because I just needed to take some time off. And you guys were amazing for letting me have that time off and not expecting anything more. This has already gone long. Okay. Also, think about subscribing to all of my other channels. And if you're already subscribed to my other channels, please make sure that you're still subscribed to my other channels. People are saying that they're getting unsubscribed, so just check it out. And I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, I think we're gonna go to this restaurant tomorrow for brunch called Milktooth, which is in Fountain Square. And it's like, by Bon Appetit magazine listed it as like one of the top 10 brunch places in the United States. Kelsaprise. So I'm really excited. Kelsaprise with an S on the end. It's Kelsaprise, right? Anyway, I'm very, very excited about it. I found this TikToker tonight. She's so funny. And she did this one TikToker, and it was like me having lunch with a friend after she just got back from being abroad. It was like in Paris. And so this girl sits down and she's like, hi. She's like, bonjour. She's like, oh, this hat, I forgot to take it off. She's like, it's a beret. She's like, I met this guy and we're dating, and she's like, I'm very much in love. She's like, his name, Pierre. And she would, like, every French word she would say like with an accent. Anyway, let me put on some hand sanitizer. We're gonna go to Milktooth, I think, tomorrow. So I can't stay up too late. It's already almost 3 o'clock. I have vlogged for way too long tonight. I said I was gonna do a half an hour. So anyway, this is gonna end up being like an hour and 40 minutes or something. I can't even get off here. I'm a guy, I have like 2 minutes left and half a battery. I have like really gone on long tonight. Okay. So I hope you guys are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun. Do something exciting. Eat some favorite food of yours. Watch a movie, some favorite movie or a new movie or TV show, or start a new book or something like that. And just something that will make you happy today. Also, do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and every single night, every single day when you get up in the morning, and every single night before you go to bed, and say to yourself, I love you, and at least one positive affirmation, like you are valuable. And why is this car stopping to look at me? And say at least one positive affirmation. Say to yourself every single morning when you get up, and every single night before you go to bed, in the mirror, look in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you, and at least one positive affirmation, like you are valuable. And I'm not gonna make it before the 30 minutes, I can already tell. Have I really been vlogging for an hour and a half? Like, that's crazy. And every night before you go to bed, say this about the next day. And every day when you get up in the morning, say, today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. I'm going to sing, I'm going to dance, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to cry if I want to. If I have to work, I'm going to do so. I'm going to live my most genuine, authentic life today and be true to myself and be too much. Go check out my merch, my new merch. And if I have to work, I'm going to do so with a smile on my face, doing the best work that I possibly can and putting out a positive contribution into the world. And if I don't have to work, or when I'm done, I'm going to spend time with my family and friends if I can or if I want to. And if I don't want to or I can't, then I'll spend time alone enjoying my own company. And when I'm done with work, or if I don't have to work, then I'm gonna spend time doing all the things I'm passionate about, all the things I love, my crafts, my crocheting, my cooking, all the C's, my coloring books, my gardening, my juices, my watching Netflix, my napping, whatever it is you love. It's gonna stop, hold on. Okay, and I'm like, what time did I start? I don't remember what time I said it was when I started vlogging. 12:58. I've literally almost been vlogging for like 2 hours. This is crazy. And I said I was gonna do a half an hour tonight. Shorter vlogs this week, remember? Also, yeah, and then I'm gonna have great opportunities come my way all day today. I'm gonna have positive experiences all day today. And if my day gets off track, well, I can start my day over just like that. No, I can start my day over whenever I want. just like that. And most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Just reach out to somebody and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know I love you, I care about you, or just reach out to a friend and say, hey, how are you? And yeah, and just let somebody know, you know, that they're important, that they're seen, that they're validated, and maybe pick somebody that you think doesn't hear from somebody else very often, you know? People always think that like my phone must just go off all the time. I literally only hear from like the same 2 or 3 people every single day through text, and usually one of them is my husband Alex. So like I don't hear from a lot of people. So when some random friend of mine like reaches out and it's like, hey, I've been thinking of you, like that means a lot to me, you know? It probably has something to do with the fact that I'm like, I was gonna say piss poor, but I'm one of the worst responders to text messages in the entire world. I'm just not great at it. But anyway, just most importantly, like I said, reach out, most importantly, reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Anybody. You can, mom, grandma, dad, uncle, brother, neighbor, barista, coffee barista, person that works at the bank, grocery store person, anybody. It can be anybody. Old teacher, old mentor, old anybody. Okay. And it can even be, I was gonna say your dog, but no, it can't be. Just pick somebody that you think really, let's each of us today pick somebody that we think doesn't hear from a lot of other people, and it will really cheer them up to hear from us today. I think that would be doing something really kind. And then also, like I always say, I was gonna say most importantly, but not most importantly, also like I always say, practice random acts of kindness, but also like I always say, don't tell anyone. Just do it because it's a nice thing to do. It's the right thing to do. We just want to put goodness and love and kindness and compassion out there in the world. We just want to try to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be on a daily basis, and put love, kindness, compassion, and understanding out there in the world. And we always want to lead with love and help the world be a more loving place. So I love you guys, and I'm finally going to get off here now. And I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.